Welcome back, Source Nation. Now here's your host, Kathy B.
And welcome back, Source Nation. Welcome back. You're listening live right here on the Ladies Lounge. I am your host, Kathy B. I tell you, tonight has been amazing, and we still have beautiful young ladies here in the studio that we're going to be speaking to, and lovely journeys that we're going to be hearing about. Again, you are listening live right here on the Ladies Lounge, and we are in our second hour. Telephone number to reach us is 619-924-0933. Again, 619-924-0933. And of course, I want to thank my first guest for coming in, Miss Felicia Phillips, the PINKpreneur. She gave us some great information in reference to business entrepreneurship. All of her information and more can be found on Kathy B. Source Radio Network, as well as our main station page, Source Radio Network. Well, just as I said, we're now into our second hour of the show. We have about 2 hours before we lose the live feed. Telephone number to reach us once again is 619-924-0933. Again, 619-924-0933. Well, we're going to be speaking with another dynamic young lady. We'll be speaking with Dr. Tiffany Lowe-Payne. She is the nation's leading expert when it comes to de-stress for your success. And just a little bit about Dr. Payne before I bring her in. She is a highly respected board-certified family physician over 16 years. She is also a stress expert, a diplomat of the American Board of Obesity Medicine, and professor at Campbell University School of Osteopathic Medicine in Buies Creek, North Carolina, not that far from the Source Radio Network studios. Awesome. And she's also an author of the best-selling book, A Woman's Guide to De-Stress for Success, 10 Essential Tips to Conquer Stress and Live at Your Best. And this is with the goal of helping women understand the health implications of chronic stress and develop daily strategies to de-stress and achieve optimal health. I love that. I do believe that Dr. Tiffany Lowe-Payne is here in the studio with me. Dr. Payne, hello and welcome to the Ladies Lounge. How are you this evening?
Hey, how are you? It's very good to be here. Thank you so much for having me on the show.
You're welcome. I'm excited to have you. And, of course, Dr. Payne, you know I did not give you a bio justice, and I'll tell you why. We've had the opportunity really to begin to share you with the ladies here in the lounge as well as the Source Nation family. But if you will, please, if you could just take a moment to introduce yourself to everyone else, we'll jump into the conversation from there.
Absolutely. And you gave a phenomenal job of my bio, Kathy. But I am a family physician. I've been doing family medicine now for a little over 16 years. I am also an assistant professor at Campbell University, an amazing medical school where I get an opportunity to train our future doctors to go out and be phenomenal docs helping their patients. I'm also an author and a speaker. And I actually, felt the call to go outside of the four walls of the office where I was seeing patients and treating patients each day, because one of the things that I noticed in helping them deal with their physical issues, I also realized that stress was a major component in terms of their illness and in terms of disease. So that's what led me to write the book, A Woman's Guide to De-Stress for Success. And I've been going out into the community and speaking to people about taking care of themselves, taking care of their health, making sure that they are not just healthy, but they're whole mentally, spiritually, and physically. And it's been an amazing journey since I've had the opportunity to be out and reach people on a greater level.
Awesome. I am so excited, Dr. Tiffany, to have you here and definitely begin to have a great conversation with you. So let's jump right on into what we're going to be speaking about tonight. And again, ladies, we are speaking with Dr. Tiffany Lowe-Payne, and she is the national lead expert when it comes to de-stress for success, and has written a very successful book, which is A Woman's Guide to De-Stress for Success, 10 Essential Tips to Conquer Stress and Live at Your Best. Now, I want to talk about that because I can tell you, Dr. Tiffany, being a single mom, raising two young men, 23 and 16, have my own business, Some days I am so tired and stressed out, I can't even think about anything because I can't put my thoughts together. I can't form a thought. So let's talk about that, because I find that to be very interesting, especially because we are living busy lives, that we have stress and we typically ignore it. So let's start there. What are your thoughts?
Oh my goodness, absolutely. I you know, whenever I hear that, it's just so familiar to me, for what you just said, that you are a mom, you're a businesswoman, you are not, and I'm sure not just a mom and a businesswoman, but you may be a mate to someone, you may be, you know, you're someone's daughter, you may be a caretaker. There's so many things that we as women are doing today for all the great things that we've been able to achieve in our careers, breaking through glass ceilings, getting, you know, breaking those barriers, climbing the ladder. We still have traditional roles in play, and as moms, as wives, as caretakers. And so what you said was actually very common. It's extremely common now that we are actually seeing women who are dealing with stress at astronomical levels. And it's affecting them not just mentally, but it's affecting them physically. As a matter of fact, the American Medical Association estimated that about 60, and some experts even say 90% of chronic medical diseases that we see have stress as a major underlying factor. So it's significant. It is very significant. And it's one of those things that we have to make sure as women, especially women who are leaders, who are servant leaders in their communities, or who are leading on the job, or entrepreneurs, really come to grips with and really start to pay attention to, because it can make you sick. And because of that, it can ultimately affect your ability to handle the other things that you have to handle as well.
Definitely. I find it very important that we do take the time to step away and begin to think about some of the areas that may cause us stress. You know, Dr. Tiffany, what I found very important in my life, and what helps me get to the next thing that I have to achieve, or really just get to the next moment where there's some form of peace, is I journal a lot. I have to write down what's going on in my life, because I have to see it. Even though I'm dealing with it, I also have to see it. And seeing it in paper form truly helps me. So let's talk about some of the things that we could actually put in place for us to handle stress. Just as you said, we are living and leading stressful lives, and it's really ridiculous to know that we as women are dealing with this and have no other way to figure out how to cope with it. Talk to us about that.
Well, absolutely. And I will tell you this. I think it's also important that even before we actually talk about ways to de-stress or ways to help manage your stress level, and journaling is a phenomenal way to be able to get out what your stressors are, to be able to understand why you feel the way you feel. And when you write it down on paper, then you're able to deal with it because you're able to see it, just like you said. But I will tell you this. Too many women are stressed and don't even know it. So I think the first thing is that you have to understand your body. You have to look at what your body's saying. I often say that your body speaks a language. You have to be in tune with what that language is. When you're hurting, or when you're aching, or when you're extremely tired, or your mood is bad, or you may be having heart palpitations, or whatever issues may be occurring, understand that it may not necessarily be a medical diagnosis per se. It may be that your body's letting you know that it's under an extreme demand. And so I think that's really important to just take a step back and to know that. Once you understand your stress level, then, or what is stressing you, and you're understanding that you're stressed, then you can start to develop some strategies to help yourself lower it. And I actually talk about the 10 tips in the book. And I'll tell you, one of the tips that I absolutely love to help women de-stress is to really ground yourself every morning. Ground yourself, get yourself back to a place where you are focusing, you're recentered, and you are ready to start your day fresh. One of the things that I think is so important is positivity and what we say and what we think about ourselves. our thought process is just essential in our ability to be successful, not just in business, not just in life, but even in our health and in how we feel. Many times I tell people all the time when they come in and they say, I say, how are you feeling? And they're like, oh, doc, I'm falling apart. Well, you just spoken that over yourself. And people don't necessarily realize that. So that's a thing that we should do each morning is just wake up and give ourselves a positive affirmation. Say something positive about yourself, positive about your day. That way you can frame your day and prepare your day to be successful. The other thing that's really important, oh, I'm sorry.
No, I was saying, wow, that is so true and something that we don't even do that's very simple. So I love that you mentioned that. Go on.
Oh, absolutely. And honestly, in the book, the tips that I give, the 10 tips, are all practical tips. They're all things that I believe we at some point in time have heard before. But the question is, are you really putting the things that you know into practice? Are you actually waking up each morning and saying a positive thought? Are you praying or meditating and getting yourself back to that grounding and back to that centering that you need to be successful throughout the day? The other thing that's really important is exercise. Exercise is not just for our cardiovascular health. Exercise is a phenomenal stress reliever. I don't know if you've ever gone in and you've been absolutely stressed and you walk in and you go into an exercise class and sometimes you can just feel the stress just palpably roll off of you. There's actually, yes, a reason for that. And it's because when you exercise, the hormones in your body, you send a signal to those hormones to release your happy hormones, the things that we call endorphins. And those hormones attach to the receptors in your brain, and actually exercise elevates your mood. So it's not just good for your heart, it's good for your mind and your spirit too.
Yes, I am so glad that you said that because, as you were speaking, I was just sitting here thinking about, just different things that have transpired in my life where, I was truly, truly stressed, and not too long ago, I had to deal with, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. To give you a little bit of history about me, divorced. And coming away from a job that I loved a great deal to where, my contract with that particular job was not going to be renewed. So life transition itself took a toll on me.
Yes.
And as the ladies heard here in the lounge and on this platform, literally, Dr. Tiffany, I fell into depression. And in that depression, my comfort was food. I mean, I was eating everything in sight, and I didn't care. And it was because I was feeding that stress and just did not cope with it. And so finally I just said enough is enough. I got to figure this out. So I decided to go on a wellness journey and really been taking care of myself in a holistic manner. So I truly believe, just as you stated, that, exercising, I can tell you there are some mornings I don't even want to get up. I get up at 4:00 every single morning. And I'm like, okay, I got to do something. And I was shaking my head and smiling when you said that stress can literally roll off of you. That is the first thing that I want to do. I'm like, okay, let me just get on the treadmill and I can just walk.
Well, I tell you, Kathy, what you're basically saying is what I try to teach my clients, what I try to teach my patients, and whenever I go out and speak, what I try to empower the women to understand is that we are our own greatest investment, and we cannot always choose the things that happen to us. You did not choose to have breast cancer. You did not choose to have to go through a period of time where you're probably under one of the biggest stresses in your life with your health and then dealing with your relationships, two of the things that are most personal to us. us is our health and our relationships. And you did not necessarily choose those things, but it happened to you. So now here's the thing. The thing is, when it comes to stress, you can look at it in one way or another. Stress is going to be there. And it's not just bad stressors that occur. It can be good stressors as well. We can have, especially as us as women who are nurturers by nature, we can have so many things on our plate at one time before we even realize it, because we don't want to say no. We want to make people happy, so we want to just be there for them, or we want to do things for them. And then before you know it, you're stretched so thin trying to help everybody that you can't help anybody. And so what's important is that, you know, as women, especially we who are women of purpose, we have to make a conscious choice to take care of ourselves. And that's what you did. You made a conscious choice to say, if you don't invest in yourself, then nobody else is going to invest in you. And honestly, what that then opens the door to is it opens the door to allow the chaos in your life and the things that occur in your life to then be turned into purpose. Because then, you know, even though you went through those things, even though you went through trying times, and I'm sure that there were days that were very tough for you, to keep your mind and your perspective right, to keep your body as healthy as you can so that you can fight off the offending agent that you didn't ask for, to be able to set yourself up to prosper, then allows you to be able to then to go through the journey and to fight the journey and to have those things. But it's a choice, and choice is intentional. It's our choice. We can either choose to let the things in our lives destroy us and make us bitter, or we can choose to have them make us better and learn from them. And I think you chose to make them better, because you sound phenomenal. You sound great now.
Thank you. Yes. I mean, there were times where it was very dark. And that's one of the things that I want to talk about, Dr. Tiffany, where I found my strength in being in a place like that. What it showed me was the fact that I am strong. I didn't necessarily have to depend on my marriage to make me a better woman, or possibly make me a better wife in the next marriage that God promised me. You know, it didn't define me as, okay, in order for you to become the best journalist or the best radio host or news correspondent, you don't have to be at Fox to do that. You can do that elsewhere.
Right.
And so in my darkest moments, I had to sit there and think about what I had, what I lost. Okay, what are you going to do now? And that's when I found the strength of, okay, take all of what you just said, what you've done, and now become a better person. And just as you said, you have to invest and you have to choose it. Now, it's hard for people to do. It really is. I mean, literally look at myself in the mirror and seeing that I had gained in that marriage. I probably gained well over 100 and I want to say maybe 30 pounds. So I was 130 pounds heavier by the time all of that was said and done. So I went on a journey, a weight loss journey, to figure out who I was as a woman, who I was as a mother, a sister, and a daughter. But eventually, if I'm going to be in another relationship, that woman in the relationship. That was my journey, and it still is, you know. So, and I conquered the weight. I got 100 pounds off of me, so I'm 100 pounds lighter.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Thank you. It's still working.
Can I tell you this though?
Yes.
Can I let you know that when you talk about the stress and how you chose food as your source of comfort, that is not uncommon. As a matter of fact, I am an obesity medicine specialist. I am board certified in obesity medicine, and I do weight loss, with my patients regularly. And one of the things that we have found is that stress is a significant factor in obesity. It's a significant factor in weight gain. And people need to understand, and I think it's so important that you brought this up, because people need to understand that when it comes to gaining weight, and especially patients who deal with obesity, which is now considered a chronic disease, and it is a disease state that we are needing to treat.
Yes.
It's more than putting things in your mouth. It's more than telling people to stop eating. It's more than just kind of thinking that they're gluttons or they just want to eat or whatever the case may be. There's so many different components to why individuals gain weight. And stress is a significant part of it, not just because people can use it as a source of comfort, but also because when we are stressed, your body emits, our bodies are miraculous machines. And it's made up of hormones and it's controlled by hormones. One of the hormones that gets released when you are stressed is cortisol. And cortisol can actually suppress your immune system, which is why we see individuals get sick if you have frequent colds all the time or maybe some reflux or, those things going on. It's because of the cortisol that is emitted in your body when you are stressed out for an extended period of time. But it also makes it difficult for you to lose weight, and many people actually gain weight because what it also does is it causes your insulin levels in your body to be elevated, and it becomes a fat storage. You start storing fat. And so stress is one of those things that we say that people know about, and it's like, okay, I got to de-stress. I got so much on my plate. I'm stressed. But you really have to respect stress, and you have to respect what it can do to you, because it can wreak havoc on your body.
Oh my gosh.
It can wreak havoc on your mind, and it can wreak havoc on your health, and it is a significant reason why individuals are not able to fully walk in their purpose, to fully walk in their destinies, is because they are allowing themselves to continue to allow stress to negatively impact them. I believe that although we cannot get rid of stress, and I'm a firm believer that if anybody tells you that you can get rid of all your stress, they're not being truthful with you.
That's right.
But I do believe that if you educate yourself, and if you arm yourself, and if you learn techniques to modify your stress levels, some of the ones that we talked about, many of the other ones I have in my book, and some of them I talk about in trainings, I do believe that you can get yourself to the place where you can then effectively deal with your stress level so that you can control your stress. Your stress doesn't control you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I love that you said that, Dr. Tiffany. I love that you said that. And I want to transition over to some of the things that you can do. How can you pinpoint it? Just for me, and I use myself as an example. I know when I'm stressed, and I tell you some of the things that I figured out about my body. And not only that, I was able to speak with a physician that specializes in naturopathic care.
Yes.
My anxiety levels are very, very high. So I know exactly when I'm at that point where anxiety is getting ready to happen. Two, I know for a fact when my heart, my palpitations, my heart is like fluttering, that.
Yes.
And then when I'm unable to sleep.
Yes.
That's how I know that my body is very stressed. So let's talk to the ladies in understanding our bodies and how our bodies are actually giving us symptoms and signs. Absolutely.
Absolutely. And all of the symptoms that you just talked about, they are all symptoms of stress. When you are stressed out, and again, I like I said, stressors can come from good situations or bad situations. Let me just talk quickly about the science of stress and what it does so that people can really understand why you start to have the symptoms that you have. When you're stressed out, your body, your brain, again, emits hormones. And the main hormones that are emitted is cortisol, epinephrine, and norepinephrine. And many people know those as our flight or fight hormones, the ones that can give us the strength to roll over a car if we see somebody in distress underneath of a car, that can, leap tall, like make a superwoman, a superman, or whatever the case may be. Those things get released. But what they do in the short term, they make you more alert. So if you have a project due or if you have a presentation, it's actually good to have that stress hormone be released because it makes you more alert, more focused to be able to deal with whatever the task is that you have. The issue occurs, the problem then occurs when you are on Energizer Bunny mode for an extended period of time. Then the cortisol starts to affect you negatively, and that's when it suppresses your immune system. So that's why we got to be careful with our chronic stressors. Now, the symptoms that you start to say, and you've mentioned several of them: heart palpitations, inability to sleep, feeling like your mind is racing. If you name any body system in your body, so whether it's your heart or your lungs or your stomach or, your psyche or any part, just about every organ system in your body is affected by stress. So if you name something, it could definitely be stress as a major underlying component. What happens is that people, they feel it. They feel the reflux, or they feel the heart palpitations, or they feel like they're a little bit more anxious, or they may be having panic attacks, or, they feel those things, but they brush them off. And they may even know that they're stressed, but again, they brush them off. And so what happens is that over a long period of time, it then begins to become toxic to your body. All the things that you're feeling are toxic, and it actually can cause you to have diseases such as high blood pressure. That is why 1 out of 3 Americans have high blood pressure. It can also cause things like you said, to eat unhealthy. 75% of Americans who admit that their stress levels are elevated eat unhealthy or practice some other unhealthy practice because of their stress level, whether it's shopping as a release, eating as a release, smoking cigarettes. Over 200,000 lung-related deaths are secondary to cigarette smoking, stress being a major underlying factor. And 29 Americans are affected by diabetes. Many of these things are preventable. When you look at the 10 leading causes of death, the majority of them are preventable. And stress is a major underlying factor in each of them, including cancer. We know that there is an association between stress, the toxic hormones that can be released in your body, and the cells then, because of that, becoming dysfunctional and can lead to some of the cancers that we see. So we have to make sure that we take care of ourselves, and that's some of the stuff that I really wanted to get out and teach people about, especially business women, because women in general have a higher stress level than they did 50 years ago. Business women, the stress level of entrepreneurs and women leaders and women who are doing business is a whole different set of special circumstances. To be an entrepreneur, to be a woman in business, if you are a woman in business, you know that sometimes it could be a whole day event to even go to the post office or to make a phone call that you have to schedule in to be able to do it because you have so many things on your plate. And so, that is why we have to take care of ourselves. We've got to take care of ourselves so we can then do the other work that we're called to do effectively.
Wow, great information, Dr. Tiffany, that you are sharing with us. Ladies, here in the lab, I am speaking with Dr. Tiffany Lowe-Payne, and tonight's conversation is all about de-stressing. As women, we are doing a lot in our lives, but are we taking the time out to understand that stress can definitely withhold us from the necessary things that we are wanting to do? So great information, Dr. Tiffany, that you are sharing with us. I want to, if we may, really begin to speak on some of the stresses, some of the things that you are seeing with your patients, or possibly when you're out doing your workshops or seminars. What are some of the things that the ladies are saying that really are holding them back from being successful business women?
Sure, absolutely. One of the things that I see, and I actually came up with a system, it's called the POWER principle, and POWER stands for positioning yourself for optimal wealth and exponential reward. And it's really coming because of what you just asked about, which is the things that women are saying is holding them back. The one thing, and I'm going to tell you the most common thing that I hear over and over and over again is what is holding women back, and probably the number one stressor of business women that I see is perception.
Wow.
It's perception of what we have to be, the fear of not being perceived to be serious, the fear of not being perceived to be good enough, or that we have to be able to perform at a certain rate as compared to our male counterparts. That fear, and it's an unjust fear that we're putting on ourselves. It's an unreasonable fear that we're putting on ourselves, but it's the perception, excuse me, and the thought that we have in our mind that we have to act a certain way or perform a certain way. That puts stress on business women like nothing else. Mm-hmm. It really does, because then it makes us think of things. Some women, you know, and I go a lot more into this in the book, but some of those thoughts that we have can then give you senses of sometimes paranoia, thinking that people are saying things about you when they're really not, thinking they may be talking about you or they may be out to get you when they're really not. And so it makes you act in a way that you would not normally act. We have got to stop worrying about how people perceive us. If we are blessed and gifted enough to do a certain work, and we have the skill set and the ability, and we know we are working hard each and every single day to master our craft, then I say we because I have my own business as well, have to then just go out there and do it, not in perfection, because perfection brings a separate stressor all in and of itself, but in excellence. Just go out and do it in excellence. Be excellent, lay your head down, know that you've given it your all, you've done what you needed to do, and then don't worry about it. The individuals that are supposed to be called to you, the individuals that are supposed to be who you are essentially assigned to, who need your services, who need your goods, who needs the things that you have to offer, they will come. And those individuals that don't feel like they need you, or maybe you're not good enough, or maybe, you know, whatever the case may be, those are probably people who you're not supposed to be dealing with anyway. So stop stressing over them.
Mm-hmm. And I'm so glad that you said that. And this is what I'm going to say, because what you just said is my exact prayer when I'm praying to God. I asked him in it. I said, God, if you will align me with those folks, place me on the path of those folks that will embrace what it is, and that we come together and be excellent together.
Yes.
You know, I have been there, Dr. Tiffany, where I have wondered if you know, what I'm doing is going to make a difference, and why is it that people won't support what it is that I do. I mean, I will jump on that bandwagon in a minute, but is that truly helping me? Is that truly getting me to where I want to be? No, I'm allowing that to affect me. So I'm so glad that you said that, because I think, you know, we as women and entrepreneurs, we need to look at that. Now, I'm an advocate when it comes to women working together. I really do feel that should take place. I think that will make us that much stronger. And the reason why I say that is because media has perpetuated the thought that women, especially women of color, cannot get along and work together. And I absolutely think that is ridiculous, because we can. Yes. But we have to take the steps to do so. So what are your thoughts about that? Because that could be stressful too, seeing what other people perceive us to be when we're not. Yes, absolutely. And I, you know, this is what I say. When we are looking at what other people are doing, and we've all been there. I mean, I've been there as well. You know, many of the things that I talk about, many of the things that I speak about in the book, many of the things that I talk about when I go out and do speaking engagements or classes, a lot of that isn't just coming from what I know from a medical book. It's coming from what I've experienced, what I've been able to get over. I was even at the place where I was at the greatest point of stressor in my life, where I had lost many things. Some people could even say I've lost everything just about. But
But I have to tell you that, you know, as we start to go through these stressors and as we start to experience them and then overcome them and really become women of triumph, then we can then go out and teach other people how to then do it as well. You know, everybody seems to think, and this is the one, and again, this is a perception. This is a perception. This is a unreasonable fear that we place on ourselves. People think that when they are going through times of stress or times of illness, times of disease or uncertainty, that they're doing it by themselves. I will tell you, if you are a woman that's stressed, and I'm talking to the listening audience, if you are a woman that's stressed or if you've heard yourself in anything that we talked about, you are not alone. You are not alone. Women today are stressed at capacity. And when I tell you that anywhere between 60 and 90% of medical illnesses have stress as a major underlying factor, we know that you know, you're not alone in the journey. So I have to, you know, let people know that you got to seek help. You got to get help. And I know a lot in our, you know, especially in minority communities or in faith-based communities. And I'm sure you could probably tell I am a physician, but I'm a faith-filled physician. And I truly believe in a holistic philosophy of medicine as an osteopathic physician. So I believe that healthy living actually starts from the inside and works its way out. We have to master our mindset. We have to master how we think about our lives. We have to master how we think about our health. And once you can get your mindset right, then it will emanate into physical health. And so one of the things that's really, really important is that you have to seek help. One of the things that I think happens as leaders, as business women, where we know that people are depending on us, when we find ourselves in a place of vulnerability, or even as a person of faith, when you find yourself in a place of vulnerability, it's almost a weakness of sorts to then be able to say, I need help. To then be able to say that I'm stressed or I'm having difficulty dealing with this. Because then, again, that goes back to perception. You don't want to be perceived as weak to your superiors, or you don't want to be perceived as weak to other people around you. But we have to get over that. If you're dealing with something, I truly believe that it does not mean that you have a lack of faith to go seek counseling or go seek help. It's actually an exercise of your faith. It's an exercise of you being able to say that I'm dealing with something that's greater, so let me go seek out that counsel that is wiser than me. Let me go seek out the help that I need so that I can then stay on top of my game and move forward.
I love that. I find that to be very important and great information to really lead with the women. Now, Dr. Tiffany, I want to transition over and give the ladies some idea in regards to what you are doing in the marketplace. Now, with the book, if you have written the book, are there any types of workshops or webinars that you are offering to where the ladies can be a part and really learn how to de-stress and be very successful moving forward? Are you offering that at this time?
Yes, absolutely. So the book, if anybody wanted to get the book, it is available on Amazon. It's also available on my website, which is www.drtiffanylowe-payne.com. The book is there, and it'll get shipped directly to you. If you get it off my website, I actually autograph the books and put a nice message in there as well of just encouragement to the ladies. The other thing that I'm doing is I actually just launched a movement called Healthy, Fit, and Fabulous, which is a movement to really focus on women who are servant leaders, business women, entrepreneurs, and those individuals who find that they are in leadership positions where I can then speak to what I see as the stressors that affect us. As opposed to other people in the general population. And so Healthy, Fit, and Fabulous talks about, renewing your mind, restoring your body, replenishing your spirit, really looking at healthy in a whole different way. I also do some weight loss tips in there and starting, teaching training sessions to help them with that. So I have the Live Healthy Kickstart program, which is a series of 3 training modules that I actually offer that women can really start to think about healthy in a whole different way. And it's from the inside out. I'm also partnered and happy to partner with Felicia Phillips of the PINKpreneur NETWORK, where I'm able to help the women in her organization get healthy and get whole, and I'm honored to be a part of that organization. And I've also partnered with several other organizations to just help women understand that it's not just good to be successful. We have to stop successing ourselves to death. We have to get to a place where we are then taking care of ourselves first, saying that it's not self-indulgent to say you got to put yourself first. It's not self-indulgent, and it's not self-centered to say that. But it's really selfless in the sense of understanding that when you put yourself first, then you can better take care of everybody else.
Great information, Dr. Tiffany. I love it. You're right. Some days we really have to sit and say, okay, what about me? And I tell you, that was one of the things, it was so hard for me to do, Dr. Tiffany. It was so hard where I forget about me.
Yes.
I serve everyone else. I do all that I can. And if I had to say no, I was afraid to say no because I didn't know what
my goodness.
to say.
Yes, that is actually one of the tips in the book, is just to understand that no is actually a complete sentence. Master the art of saying no. When we cannot say no, we are going to get ourselves into trouble every single time.
Yes. Well, I can tell you now, no, I say it all the time. No.
Good for you. Yes, I love that word. It's so empowering and it's so freeing, because sometimes you can just say no, and it can't be no because no, I would, but I think that when you are stressed and you're at your capacity, you have to understand that people are going to pull on you. They're going to pull on you until you tell them that they can't. And people don't know when you're stressed. You know, people, they get into marital issues and relationship issues, and the kids might look at you like you're crazy, and, you know, everything's going on, but people don't know that you're stressed out unless you let them know that you have too much on your plate. So I think just being honest is not just good for you, it's not good for your health, but it's good for your brand, because you don't want to commit to something that you can't follow through on, and then people are then saying that you're not equipped to do it. It's not that you're not equipped. It's just that you have too much on your plate, and so you can't do it effectively.
Wow. Now that right there is great information. I tell you, Dr. Tiffany, I love having you here in the studio with us tonight. Thank you so much. Definitely giving us some great information. You know, as we are wrapping up tonight's segment, we always end either with some encouraging word, Dr. Tiffany, or possibly some tips and advice that we have not shared in tonight's conversation. If you wish to contribute, I would love for you to do so at this time.
Absolutely. I would just like every woman to say to themselves that you are worth it. I want everybody to take a moment and just let yourself know before you let everybody else know that you are absolutely worth every investment that you are going to make in yourself. You are worth it. And if you don't understand that you're worth that greatest investment, then nobody else will either. So know that you're worth it. Make a conscious choice, a conscious decision to do better for you, recognizing that doing better for you is going to be doing better for everybody else. And then do it, because it's one thing to have the faith and to speak these affirmations, but it's another thing to then put them into action. Put your faith into action, and I'm going to tell you, your future self is going to thank you. Take care of yourself, because you're worth it.
Yes, I love it. Dr. Tiffany, if you will, please share with Source Nation and the ladies here in the lounge how we can get more information about you and continue to support you in your efforts.
Thank you so much. I sure will. So if you please sign up for my newsletter on my website, www.drtiffanylowe.com. You can Google my name, or it's my name all in one. You can also go to the Healthy, Fit, and Fabulous website. It's healthyfitandfabulous.com, where you can learn more about that. I am on all social media platforms, so I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Periscope, you name it, under Dr. Lowe-Payne. And if you'd like to email me, or if you're interested in any booking, you want me to come speak to you, then you can get in contact with me at info at drtiffanylowe-payne.com. So very simple, very consistent. It's all my name so that they can find me, and I would love to be able to help however I can.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Tiffany, again, thank you so much for being here in the lounge with us.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You have given us some great information when it comes to de-stress. And one thing that I will say, you are doing some wonderful things in that area, definitely helping women learn how to de-stress and become better women in business. I would love if you'd like to come back and talk to us a little bit more about your fitness program and give us an idea on how we can remain fit and conquer the business world and be successful. So I would love to send out some more dates to you. You take a look at them. Whenever you can come back, you're definitely welcome to come back here in the lounge.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I would love to. And yes, we're going to be fit and fabulous.
Oh, yes. Fit and fabulous. That's what I love. Well, Dr. Tiffany, again, thank you so much for being here in the lounge with us.
Thank you. I enjoyed myself.
We look forward to having you. Thank you. We look forward to having you back here again. Have a great evening.
You too. Take care.
All right. Bye-bye.